Our selection is These Are They.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Messiah, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we get closer and closer to the redemption of the children of Israel, we're going to have to deal with some things because we have to enter into his land and we have to be right going into it. This is why there were so many of those purging things that was happening unto us as we were coming out of Egypt. And it caused a whole lot of issues because at this point, the children of Israel believed that they deserved a land. They believed that they were ready to have a land. It never did occur to our people that there were some things that we had picked up in Egypt that needed to be purged out of us. And just classically as we are, whenever that purging is coming upon us, what we start doing is lashing out at all of those around us instead of understanding that Yahweh is trying to get us ready for a place of power. In a place of power, you have to deal with some things. And Israel is being, same situation. Israel is being removed from a place of servitude to a place of power. And if you ain't got all your ducks in a row, when you get in a place of power coming from a place of servitude, you're going to cause some serious problems. As it is written, the people mourn when a servant bears rule. Why? Because a servant is not accustomed to power. So when he gets power and he is not accustomed to dealing with power, he becomes reckless with that power. He doesn't know how to spread that power out. He doesn't know when to activate the power. He doesn't know when to exercise the power. He uses the power protecting the wrong individuals because he's not accustomed to power. So Yahweh gave us a situation. He did not just take us out of Egypt and place us in his land, you are free. There was a counseling portion that Yahweh had with the children of Israel. But because we wouldn't listen, the counseling portion took so long that it had to be the next generation that went in. Because those that came out of captivity refused counseling. Those that came out of captivity refused correction. We refused all of those things. We would not hear it. We would not deal with it. We would not accept it. We would not hear 1 second of it. So he had to kill off that whole generation and bring the children, because the children would listen. The children would hear. The children would be corrected. The grown-ups said, no, we grown. We will not be corrected. And that caused us to be killed off. It took a couple of day journey, and it took 40 years because of all of the things. Every time that Yahweh is trying to shape and fashion Israel into something greater, Israel kicks back and fights our Elohim. And if we're not careful, we're going to do the absolute same thing again. And he will do the same thing again. He will let us sit right here and go through all of these things and teach all of these statutes and judgments, and then kill every last one of us off and bring our kids through. The ones that we think we're protecting, they'll be the ones that walk in. Because that's what we said before. Our little ones, you let them come out here to be a prey. He said, because that's what came out your mouth, I'm going to judge you according to what came out your mouth. You going to die out here, but them little ones you said you were going to protect, them the ones that's going to walk in the kingdom. And if we're not careful, we will end up doing the exact same thing, doing all the work for somebody else to walk in that kingdom. Let's begin today's sermon in Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32. And today's sermon is entitled "The Terror from Within, Warring with the Man Inside." See, before we encounter anything, before we deal with any kind of external situation, there's an internal situation that we all have, whereby the spirit of Elohim was placed in a body of flesh. That is an altercation automatically. See, the spirit of Elohim is able to move freely. The spirit of Yahshua was able to move freely. How Lucifer knew to test Yahshua at that baptism, because at that point, he now knows that this spirit that was able to move freely is now confined in a fleshly body. He automatically went to testing. Now, he had 29 other years he could have tested Yahshua. He wasn't interested in testing the flesh. He was interested in testing the spirit that resides in the flesh. That's what he wanted to test. And he waited right into that moment, and immediately he went to testing. But as it is written, those that persevere, he says, if you overcome as I have overcome. We all have some things that we have to overcome. But if we don't deal with those things, we're going to definitely have a problem when it's time to meet Yahshua face to face. Deuteronomy chapter 32, and let's start that at verse 1.
Give ear, O you heavens, and I'll speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of Yahweh, ascribe you greatness unto our El. He is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment, a El of truth and without lawlessness, just and right is he.
Right, and the children of Israel didn't just come out and say that they tested or did not believe his works. What they did was took that indignation and brought it unto Moshe. The same thing they did to Samuel. And it was told Samuel, it's not you they hate, it's me. They have a problem with me that I should not reign over them. Go ahead.
They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do you thus requite Yahweh, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he your father that has bought you? Has he not made you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you.
Will we do that? Ask your fathers, ask your elders. These are people that have been exercised. There's a reason why there's a certain time of work that has been given unto men. And then once those priests get to the age of 50, they are able to stop working. They've worked since 30. They now can just offer advice. Are you able to take advantage of the advice from people who have been already doing this 20 years? Because see, some of us can't accept advice from anybody. We have that respect of persons. We have some that cannot be disciplined only by Yahshua. Yahweh got to come out of heaven himself to deal with them. Nobody else can deal with them. He can't have any servant deal with them. He can't have anybody anywhere, any possible way deal with them unless he himself part the clouds, ride on a white horse, come down, tell them don't do that, then they will listen. Problem is, if you see him on the white horse, you're probably going to die. So if that's what you're waiting for, you about to have you some issues. Go ahead.
You know, you mentioned it, and I just want to clarify, your elders in this word.
Uh-huh. Right, not just an old dude. not an elder, not an older. So there's somebody who's older than you, but they hadn't been in the word. That's not an elder. That's an older. You got elders and you got olders. So you have people who have been exercised in this word, and they have already been through and encountered the situations that you are just about to go through. Are you able to take advice from those people, or do you need to leave in a ball of flames to then say, yeah, I probably shouldn't have lit that match by that can of gas? But there was a person that told you that before you burst in the flames. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy Chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Everything is based off the children of Israel. The whole earth is being dealt with according to you. Go ahead.
For Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Which means that a higher responsibility is placed on your actions, because you are his representation on the earth. The same thing that other people will be able to get away with, you won't be able to get away with. And we coming up thought that was unfair. It was confusing unto us why our friends were able to steal, rob, sell anything, and as soon as we get comfortable in it, somebody is reading us our rights. We felt like it was just unfair. We got to the point where other people who did dirt said, you know what, I don't think you should come with us. What you talking about? What you talking about? I want to do evil too. No, man. See, when you come, bad things happen. Wait, what you talking about? Man, we can do evil 30 times straight. No police. The day you come, there's just happened to be a sting that day. And all of us go to jail. Just because you here. That was Yahweh setting you over here. But you didn't want to be set over there. You wanted to be right there with everybody else. So now we're fighting Yahweh, talking about why we can't do evil like everybody else. We don't want to be peculiar. We want to fit in. We're going to see if we still want to fit in when that angel with that destroying weapon in his hand start killing everybody. Let's see if we run and go jump in that line. Oh, kill me, Yahweh. Let's see. Go ahead.
Verse 10. he found him in a desert land, and in the waste, howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
Right?
As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreads abroad her wings, takes them, beareth them on her wings. So Yahweh alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock.
Yahweh is making the children of Israel sing about the great things that he has done for them as a testimony against Israel. So when we start whining and crying about this, that, and the third, woe is me. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, why this is happening to me. Oh, why is that happening unto me? He'll make you sing the song of judgment. See, what you have forgotten is all this stuff right here. And, you know, we got that selective amnesia. We can remember everything that was done to us, but none of the stuff that we've done. Go ahead.
Butter of kine and milk of sheep with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat. And you did drink the pure blood of the grape. But Yeshurun waxed fat and kicked.
Once everything is going good for us, here we go. Go ahead.
You are waxing fat. You are grown thick. You art covered with fatness. Then he forsook Elohim, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Right. When we first come into the word is precious unto us. We can accept correction. We can accept direction. Once a few things has changed, we have grown. We got a little thick. Now we can't hear nothing. Apparently we get thick right around the ears. Go ahead.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Elohim, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat you, you art unmindful, and have forgotten Elohim that formed you. And when Yahweh saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
Because of the provoking of his sons and his daughters. People don't really understand the seriousness of allowing something to happen to the sheep. See, there are things that I have endured from individuals over and over and over. It's something that I learned from my elder about being long-suffering. It's when those things start happening to the other sheep in the pasture, that's when we got to deal with something. I've endured things from family members over and over and over. When it spread out to these sheep, they had to get out of here. There's not one of us that's irreplaceable. You get off on your high horse, Yahweh's already got somebody sitting there ready. Go ahead.
And he said, I'll hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward generation.
Right. Now this Israel. I notice how a lot of Israelites deal with things, and we like to talk about all of the things of other nations. It is amazing how we pass over all the attributes of us because we're dealing with the nations, not understanding that it's the attributes that we have dealt with or have not dealt with that has even allowed the nations opportunity to deal with us. So instead of dealing with the cause, we want to deal with the symptoms. So we just keep saying, you know, my leg fat. I got big fat left leg. It's big. He said, but I just saw you like sucking down salt. Like, you know, it was like some new thing. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is my leg. My leg is swollen. No, hold on. See, your leg is swelling up because of the way you're sucking down all this other stuff. Look, man, just give me something for my leg. I don't want to hear all that other stuff. Okay? Right. See, we don't want to fix the problem. What we want to do is just put a Band-Aid on a symptom and let's keep moving forward because I want to keep my life the way it is. I don't want to change that. I like sucking down all that other stuff. I just need you to give me something that when I suck down all this other stuff, my leg don't swell up. Go ahead.
Children in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is Noel. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I'll move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I'll provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
I will provoke them to anger. So instead of arguing with those people, understand that Yahweh put those people in place to deal with you because you wouldn't deal with him. So instead of us getting closer to Yahweh our Elohim and doing the things that is written in the book, we just walk around all day angry at the other nations. We won't deal with how we got there. We just want to deal with all the symptoms of us being there. These people ought to do this. These people ought to do that. What should you do? What got you here? We don't want to address that. But we're going to have to address that coming out of here. And Yahweh not giving us any option. And those that don't deal with it, he going to kill them off. Simple as that. Go ahead.
For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn onto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with anger, and devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin.
The sword from without and the terror from within. We have the sword from without having to deal with the nations. We have the terror from within, which is our own fault. We got a double-edged sword on us. All because we would not listen to Yahweh our Elohim. And not listening to Yahweh mean that we will not listen to all of the things that he has sent. Because Yahweh not dealing with us personally. You ain't dealing with Yahweh personally. It ain't set up like that. Go ahead.
The suckling also with the man of gray hairs. I said I would scatter them into corners. I'd make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and Yahweh has not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel.
Why are they void of counsel? They have counselors. They have people who have been through things before that they've been through things. Why are they void of counselors? It's not a bunch of people in a nation who are all the same age. You got young ones, you got old ones, you got teenagers, you got the ancients. Why are they void of counsel? They're not void of counsel because they don't have any counselors. They are void of counselors because they can't hear nobody. That's why they are void of counsel. Go ahead.
Neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 8,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and Yahweh had shut them up?
Right, but see, we run. We supposed to be the ones that they run away from us. But see, the power of our Elohim has been taken away from us, so we don't have that power. We got to work to get that power back. He ain't just going to give you that because you found in a book somewhere that you was Israel. Congratulations. But you ain't getting that power back just based on your lineage. No, you're going to work for that. You're going to have to prove that you're worthy of getting that back. Go ahead.
For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asp. Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed up among my treasures? To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. For Yahweh shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants.
Yahweh will judge his people. Are we preparing for righteous judgment? How can you be prepared for righteous judgment if you cannot accept any correction? Yahweh is going to judge his people. Are we preparing for that? Go ahead.
When he sees that their power is gone and there is none shut up or left. And he shall say, where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted?
Right.
Which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings. Let them rise up and help you.
Let them help you. All the things that you put your trust in, remember, Yahweh said in the beginning that he was a jealous Elohim. So all that stuff that you put your trust in, all that you put your chief time into, Yahweh gonna bring it right back before you and put it before your face when your calamity shows up. And your calamity got a time. I remember, boy, when my money was tall, I could hardly see over it. I was seeing other people in the word going through stuff. I said, man, I see people going through stuff. I'm glad we ain't going through nothing like that. I think the angel heard me. Like, funny you should say that, son, because your name is next on the list. Ooh. It got interesting. Servants had to be proved. The higher the level of your servitude, the higher the level of your proving. Read, bro.
And be your protection. Verse 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive.
Not that sweet God that brought sweet Jesus. He don't kill nobody. Go ahead.
I wound and I heal.
I wound. So if he said I kill and I wound, we still wound and say, man, Yahweh tried to kill me. No, the wound was trying to get your attention. See, Yahweh don't miss. Somebody said, man, I almost died. I know, well, that's what he wanted to happen to you. You almost died. Because if he wanted you dead, he don't miss. Almost dead means he gave you an opportunity. But you know us? No, man, I lived through that. Who did that? Me. That's who. Right. Go ahead.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. If I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and mine hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me.
And people will not openly say that they hate Yahweh. What they will do is they will hate all the things that he set up. They will hate all of his servants that he put in place. They will never utter out of their mouths that they hate Yahweh. Their actions show that they hate Yahweh. Go ahead.
You know, interesting in what you were talking about, because the first thing he says is, I kill. So he let you know right off the rip, I can kill you.
Yeah.
Then he says, I wound. So at some point, if you're alive, you got to look at what he just says. None escapes out of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had you, I had the opportunity to kill you, but I chose to wound you.
Yeah. We don't even see that as a saving grace. We're still walking around arguing about the wound. Can't believe this. Look at this. I got to deal with this. Now I got this permanent limp. I don't want to be cool. I got the limp all the time. He could have took the whole leg. Go ahead.
I'll make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh.
Right. See, this is why people are like, no, I don't want that. See, that's an old mean God back there in that Old Testament. I don't want, he killing and he got a sword in his hand. See, Jesus showed up with flowers. So they think they're going to be surprised when they see that not only is he dressed for war and does have a sword, but he got swords coming out of his mouth. Go ahead.
And that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Rejoice, O you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people.
He will be merciful unto his land and to his people. But they are not all Israel which are of Israel. Don't get it twisted. There won't be nobody standing at the gate entering to the city with a DNA test. Go ahead.
And Moshe came and spake all the words of this song in the ears of the people, he and Hosea the son of Nun. And Moshe made an end of speaking all these words to all Israel. And he said unto them, Set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which you shall command your children to observe to do, all the words of this law. For it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing you shall prolong your days in the land, whether you go over Jordan to possess it.
It is the law that allows you to prolong your days in the land. So if you would not abide by the things in the law, your time in the land is going to be cut short. Simple. His land, his law. Don't deal with his law. Get out of his land. Really simple. Go ahead.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe that selfsame day, saying, Get you up into this mountain Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession, and die in the mount whither you goeth up, and be gathered unto your people, as Aaron your brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered unto his people, because you trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because you sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel.
And all of the things, it is amazing. As many times as they provoked Moshe, he speaks out of turn. See, this is how we have to be careful when we get angry, when we trying to prove a point, that we then let some things run out of our mouth, and you can't take it back once it done ran out. But they provoked him over and over. We get provoked by one or two people. He got 10,000 people standing in front of him provoking him. Sometimes he got 250 standing in front. 250 chief men of the congregation standing before him. It took a lot for him to speak out of turn. But then when he speaks out of turn, then Yahweh turned around and said, I ain't going to let you go in because of what you let come out of your mouth. And he still kept doing his job. See, we'll get so petty, we'll start sabotaging the job at that point. He kept doing the job. Because Yahweh had a better gift than what he even knew. Go ahead, brother.
Yet you shall see the land before you, but you shall not go thither onto the land which I give to the children of Israel.
Now you shall see the land before you. Some of us wouldn't even look. Go and look at the land. No, there it is, right? I don't see it. It's right there. Look, I'm showing you the land. You ain't gonna let me go in there. You ain't gonna see it. Right. Let's go to Numbers chapter 16. All of a sudden, we have no use of our peripheral vision. But that's stubborn and stiff-necked. Numbers chapter 16, and we're just going to read a couple. Let's start at verse 1. So you find out what several of the leaders of Israel have had to do because of dealing with the children of Israel. Numbers chapter 16, let's start at verse 1.
Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moshe with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown.
And you know what we do? We are so easily persuaded. We are the same people who were persuaded to ask for Barabbas to be freed and Yahshua to be crucified. even though none of us could find a real thing that Yeshua had done wrong. But we were convinced by talk. It is amazing how quickly we are convinced by slick talk. Now these are people who have seen these things, seen the things that Yahweh has done through the hand of Moshe, yet somehow somebody is still able to convince them that Moshe does not have their best interests at heart. Now, how were they able to do that? They were able to somehow convince them that Moshe is leading for himself. He don't really have our best interests at heart. This is all about him. Go ahead.
And they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron, and said unto them, You take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy.
You take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. Go ahead.
Every one of them.
Every one of them is holy. You just like all the rest of us. I can do everything you can do. I can do that glowing thing. They sell those things at Six Flags, the glow sticks. I pop it, I put it in my mouth, and I can glow just like you glowed when you came down from that mountain. Ain't nothing but a magic trick. Go ahead.
And Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then lift you up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh.
You lift yourself up. It is amazing. The people who have not gone through the sacrifices that a leader has to go through are the very first ones to accuse the leader of not being all in. This man has been sacrificing, over and over again, Yahweh is changing his life. They say he did it. Are you ready for that, Israel? Because these your people. This is not some strange nation who's doing this. This your people doing this. Are you ready? Are you ready to lay down your life, your livelihood, to save somebody and watch them spit in your face and give you their boudoir to kiss? Go ahead.
And when Moshe heard it, he fell on his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow Yahweh will show who are his.
That's what Yahweh is going to do. But it's going to be through situation and circumstance that he's going to show who is his and who is not his. Go ahead.
And who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he has chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take you censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh does choose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi.
So he's having to deal with people who are within the priesthood, but they want a closer job. So they question his. They question his ability, question his authority, question his resolve to get the job done. Go ahead.
And Moshe said unto Korah, Hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that the El of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto him?
Does it seem like a small thing unto you that he has done this unto you? He brought you out of the mess that you was dealing with and gave you a righteous job. Does that seem like a small thing to you? Go ahead.
And he has brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you, and seek you the priesthood also?
So that wasn't enough for you. So you're going to direct the priest. Go ahead.
For which cause both you and all your company are gathered together against Yahweh. And what is Aaron that you murmur against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land that flows with milk and honey? To kill us in this wilderness? Except you make yourself altogether prince over us?
You did this. You did this. Y'all ain't had nothing to do with this. This was all you. You brought us out of here. You the one talking about you met with Elohim. Yeah, I saw them magic tricks. You made that mountain quake. in the smoke and the fire. I don't know how you did that, but you obviously learned some magic when you was out there in the wilderness. But you did this. Go ahead.
Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that flows with milk and honey.
You have not brought us. We have not been allowed to go in because we will not take heed to counsel. We will not be allowed to go in because we will not be corrected. No, it's your fault we have not received this. This is your fault. Never mind, I won't listen to nobody. Never mind, I won't be corrected. Never mind, I'm going to do the job how I want to do the job, not how the job is supposed to be done. Oh, this is your fault. Go ahead.
Or given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moshe was very angry.
Now, this is what happens with the children of Israel. They push you to say some things that Yahweh wants you to say against them anyway. And then he going to listen to you when you say the things against them and deal with it. Go ahead.
And said unto Yahweh, respect not you their offering.
Uh-huh.
I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them.
Neither have I hurt. Why? This is that thing that you're going to hear. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. Why do the leaders of the children of Israel have to proclaim this? Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 12. First Samuel chapter 12, and let's just we're gonna read verses 1 through 5.
And Samuel said unto all Israel, behold, I have hearkened unto your voice and all that you said unto me, and have made a king over you. And now, behold, the king walks before you, and I am old and gray-headed. And behold, my sons are with you, and I have walked before you from my childhood unto this day. Behold, here I am. Witness against me before Yahweh and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken?
Why does the leader of Israel have to ask that question? Whose ox have I taken? Go ahead.
Or whose ass have I taken?
Whose ass have I taken? Your ass might have left, but I didn't take it. Maybe you should learn how to treat your ass. Go ahead, bro.
Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed?
Whom have I oppressed? Go ahead.
Or of whose hand have I received any bribe to blind mine eyes therewith?
Right. Whose hand have I received any bribe to blind my eyes therewith? Where was righteous judgment not executed? Present your cause, Israel. Go ahead.
And I will restore it you.
I will restore it. You name it, I restore it unto you. Why do the leaders of Israel have to do this? Go ahead.
And they said, you have not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither have you taken aught of any man's hand. And he said unto them, Yahweh is witness against you, and his anointed is witness this day, that you have not found aught in my hand. And they answered, he is witness.
And they answered, he is witness. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 17. See, we deal with the things about going in the land of Israel. We don't understand what it's going to be like to have to execute righteous judgment. See, we like to play the neutral card. Neutral gonna get you killed. Neutral ain't gonna work. Neutral is lukewarm water. You got a purpose for hot, you got a purpose for cold. You ain't got no purpose for lukewarm. And righteous judgment has to be dealt with within every person of Israel. It's not just a situation where somebody does that and everybody else stays. When you read these things and it talks about rendering righteous judgment, it says all the congregation shall stone them. See, we used to have it. No, see, they got a stoning committee. See, and see, these are the people, they're just skilled in rock throwing. Yeah, they throw the rocks. We don't have to deal with that. Oh, no. This is how he makes everybody feel what is being done within his law. The loss of it. The execution of the judgment. So that it burns Israel enough to make sure. Now, you got to stand here and watch this. You got to stand here and participate in this. Once you participate in one of them stonings, oh, you're going to teach your children. Totally different. See, we able to teach like them and they. When we participate in one of them things, oh, it gets personal. Oh, no. I got to teach you. I don't want to have to stand out here and stone you. Deuteronomy Chapter 17, let's read verses 1 through 13.
You shall not sacrifice unto Yahweh your El any bullock or sheep, wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto Yahweh your El.
Right. And why would you sacrifice anything that had evil favoredness in it? Why would you sacrifice anything that has a blemish? When we do our works, do we recognize the blemish that is in it? What causes us to not see the blemish? What are we focused on that we don't see that there's a blemish work being offered? Go ahead.
If there be found among you within any of your gates which Yahweh your El gives you, man or woman, that has wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahweh your El, in transgressing his covenant, and has gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, either the sun or moon or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told you, and you have heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel.
Right. If it be told you, you have heard of it, and inquired diligently. The best diligent inquiry is to sit back and wait and watch and see. It happened that time. It happened that time. It happened that time. Sometimes diligent inquiry may take you a couple years. See, that's what them folks do downtown. They put us on probation, and we like, man, I got off. Right. So you think. Then, when you get into something else, that thing was 5 years ago. And they said, we was about to let you go, but we looked in. It seems like you have a history of this. Didn't you get arrested for this? See, this is how they set us up. We think we free, we just always singing. Oh, no. That thing is sitting over your head till you finish that probation. And if you keep doing the same things, now all of those things are then used to establish a type of behavior that, this is just what you do. And see, Yahweh not going to run out of time. Yahweh can go and sit back 20 years and wait and say, no, I can see where you did that this time. Now, the beautiful thing in how Yahweh deals, if you actually repent, that means we come to the table, we acknowledge, and we step away. None of those things can be mentioned at your trial. But when you refuse to acknowledge and keep walking in it, all of those things are used at your trial. Boy, if Israel would only hearken unto counsel. Read, bro.
Then shall you bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing onto your gates, even that man or that woman.
Right, either that man or that woman. Do we get scared when it comes time for righteous judgment?
Well, you know what? I'm just going to be neutral. I'm not going to be bothered. I'm not going to get into this.
Guess what? Then we become guilty. Go ahead.
And shall stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death.
But understand now, Israel's slick enough. Israel's slick. Israel will do something dirty around one individual, knowing that there's only one individual there. And then they so slick,
It couldn't have been no two witnesses because there wasn't nobody there with them. See, so I make sure that I get them alone when I'm nasty.
yeah, but then when I got three people standing in front of me saying the same thing, those three witnesses. See, Israel think they find a loophole in Yahweh's law. That's like the two ancient men who wanted that woman so bad in the Apocrypha that they both got together and told a lie on her, saying she did this, she did that, and gave her this ultimatum: either you sleep with us, or we gonna tell the people that you did such and such. And we olders. They gonna listen to us. She said, well, let me fall in the hand of Yahweh. And she about to get punished because of two false witnesses have gotten together until they were questioned under examination. That's what you need the examination for. So you can test the validity of the witnesses. And when the witnesses were tested, they stirs didn't add up. Go ahead.
But at the mouth of one witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death.
See, people can't just come and do something started and then go off to the side and say, well, I ain't gonna have nothing to do with it. I'm gonna drop this and I'm moving on. Go ahead.
And afterward the hands of all the people.
I'm sorry, the hands of what?
All the people.
How many of them?
All of them.
Okay. All of Israel has to play their part in executing righteous judgment. And if you won't execute righteous judgment, Yahweh not going to let you go in his land. You ain't worthy to be in his land. Go ahead.
So you shall put away the evil away from among you.
Right, so that you will put the evil away from among you. Because every little bit of evil that we leave among us undealt with continually grows. It's not just going to go away on its own. It has to be dealt with. It can be dealt with and there can be forgiveness, but all of the things that are not dealt with will grow. Go ahead.
If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within your gates, then shall you arise and get you up into the place which Yahweh your El shall choose.
Right. If there is an altercation, if things must be dealt with, then you go to the holy place and work those things out. Go ahead.
And you shall come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show you the sentence of judgment. And you shall do according to the sentence which they of that place, which Yahweh shall choose, shall show you. And you shall observe to do according to all that they inform you. According to the sentence of the law which they shall teach you. And according to the judgment which they shall tell you, you shall do. You shall not decline from the sentence which they shall show you, to the right hand nor to the left.
Right. So it's automatically instructing Israel to respect the righteous way that judgment is set up. Go ahead.
And the man that will do presumptuously and will not hearken unto the priest that stands to minister there before Yahweh your El, or unto the judge, even that man shall die.
Right. If you don't believe that the priest and the judge have the best interest at heart of the people, then you need to be somewhere else. Go ahead.
And you shall put away the evil from Israel. And all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumptuously.
And do no more presumptuously. Let's go to chapter 13. So you find that Yahweh and Yahshua agree with one another. You find that Yahweh has things in his law, then you find the parables of Yahshua, and you find them going hand in hand. And people keep thinking that Yahshua came and made some things lighter. He came and did this. They don't really understand what Yahshua did. Deuteronomy chapter 13, and let's read verses 6 through 11.
If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, entice you secretly, saying, let us go up and serve other gods.
Right. Now, they're not going to ask us to go and serve other gods. What they're going to do is ask us to put something over our God. Move your God over here. What did your wife say? Just curse Elohim and die. Go ahead.
Which you have not known, you nor your fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, near unto you, or far off from you, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. You shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him.
Do we have the power to do that? See, because now he's going close in unto the family. Your son, your daughter, the wife of your bosom, the closest entice you to come away from Yahweh. Are you able to deal with that? Because we can read in this book and show where there was priests that wasn't able to deal with that. Eli knew the word, but when it came down to his sons, he wouldn't discipline them. In the end, Yahweh killed him and his sons. So him trying to save the sons is what actually got the sons killed. Because he didn't save the sons the right way. He saved them from him disciplining them, which put them in harm's way of Yahweh. We got to have some common sense. You'd rather have somebody deal with you and be mad at you than to have Yahweh angry at them. That's a fight they can't win. They can live through your anger. They may not live through his. Go ahead, bro.
You know, the things that Moshe is talking about here, that Yahweh is having him talk about, there's not too many people that could come up and say to Moshe, you have not been through this. Moshe had to stand up against the Egyptians after living in Pharaoh's house with the children of Israel, and he had to run out. At some point, we hear Moshe having to stand up to his wife for the circumcision, and we can tell Yahweh gave space to see if he was going to take care of it on his own.
Yep.
And eventually had to put the hammer down and say, hey, take care of it now.
Right.
So he had to stand up to his wife. At that point, if he didn't do that, he's going against his Elohim.
Right.
Because she came from somewhere else.
Yep.
Moshe then had to turn up and stand against his own brother when he made that idol. He could have went down and partied with him.
You got it.
Had to listen. So he went with the terror within, the terror without. He's dealt with it all around.
But you know what? People don't see that. They see that from their own position of comfort, not from a position of servitude where he stands. So now they get to question the things that he has done and why he's done them. And he's having to go through each one of these things. He earned his stripes. But Yahweh does that to every leader. And the leader has to go through it first. All the things I remember being in the Christian church, and I used to laugh. I said, look at these people up there in the tithing line, and they lights ain't even on. I'm laughing. Then I get this place. After being in my own house for 3 years, which already Yahweh moved me from a place of comfort to saying, I will teach anybody who will come into this word. I will open up my house, which is something that wasn't me. Yahweh moved me outside of myself. Then got this building and some things happened, and I almost lost my whole house and this building. Yahweh put you on the line to make sure you actually about that business. So when you see somebody sitting, believe you me, if Yahweh called them to do that job, they done already had to make some sacrifices. When you talk about the thing with Moshe's wife, coming in this word, I came in this word 3 years by myself. In the beginning, wasn't nobody in my house gonna come in this word. We had already set, I was gonna get a divorce because of this word. I had to make that decision. Elohim, Zion or bust, baby. Ain't no going back for me. And not only did Yahweh give it back, he gave it back better than it was. Now what happened if I would have tried to keep it? All right, well, we can just go to Zion AME Baptist. Right. Y'all would have been like, coward. Read, man.
Verse 8, you shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him. Neither shall your eye pity him. Neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him.
Neither shall you conceal him. But what happened? What happened if we get won over? Remember when one of David's sons was trying to get into a place? Which one was it? Absalom? He got up and hugged and squeezed every person he met. Oh, that got us. It was a long time campaign of deception. But he did it with nice, smooth words and hugs. And they were convinced. All the time he waiting for his opportunity to strike. Go ahead, bro.
But you shall surely kill him. Your hand, shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people.
Afterwards the hand of all the people. He still does the same thing. Every person in Israel is responsible for righteous judgment, not just the people who stand up front. But people are so quick to throw that onto everybody else. Go ahead, bro.
And you shall stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust you away from Yahweh your El, which brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you.
Right. All Israel shall fear when they see the righteous judgment. So when you stop righteous judgment, what are you doing? Keeping Israel from fearing, so you are responsible for making sure that it keeps going. That thing that we thought we was doing being nice, you are the one that's responsible for the wrong continuing and growing. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19. So there's some things that we have to understand before we get in Yahweh's land. At least we go in thinking that we innocent by not doing certain things, only to find out that Yahweh says, oh, I have somewhat against you. What you got against me? Because you ain't take care of this business. That had nothing to do with me. That was them. They need to deal with that. Matthew chapter 19, and let's start that at verse 16.
And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why call you me good? There's none good but one, that is, Elohim. But if you will enter into life, keep the commandments. And he says unto him, Which? Yahshua said, You shall do no murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Do you understand how many laws, statutes, and judgments you got to deal with to love your neighbor as yourself? See, we will not do any murder and not commit adultery and then hate our neighbor and think we still walking into the kingdom. Go ahead.
The young man says unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Yahshua said unto him, If you will be perfect, go and sell that you have, and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. And come and follow me.
And why in the world did he tell him that? Because he saw what he was leaning on. Go ahead.
But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions.
He had great possessions. And eventually, those possessions sometimes get you to that point where you won't constantly or completely depend on Yahweh. Go ahead.
Then said Yahshua unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Not that a rich man can't go unto the kingdom and attain unto the kingdom. He says hardly. Go ahead.
And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Elohim. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, Who then can be saved? But Yahshua beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with Elohim all things are possible. Then answered Cephas and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed you. What shall we have therefore?
Right, we have forsaken all. Now, this is a higher level now. This is not necessarily the level that each individual has to deal on who enters the word. There's a higher level of expectation for the leaders of Israel. Go ahead.
And Yahshua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that you which have followed me in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters now? Go ahead.
And everyone that has forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake.
Why would they have to forsake any of these things for the word's sake? Why would they be put in that position? Can we make the difficult decisions when it's time to make those decisions? I've seen situations, and it's amazing that those things were happening at the same time. I got one person who could not accept any wrong that his wife has done. Another brother all the way on the other side of the country is willing to risk it all to stay in this word. And he got more to lose than 10 other men. It's amazing to watch that go on at the same time. Go ahead.
Shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6. First Corinthians chapter 6. Let's read verses 1 through 8.
Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints?
So then we're supposed to deal with this internal business, house business, supposed to be dealt with within the house. This is our house. Go ahead.
Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
Are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? So if the smallest matters cause you a problem, you're going to really have a problem entering into the land of Israel. Because there's a whole lot of things that's got to be set right. Go ahead.
Know you not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertains to this life? If then you have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church.
Right. You go get the person who sweep the floor and tell them, come sit down here. We got some situations we need to discuss. I don't want to do that. I sweep floors. No, man, leave me out of this. Now, if it's a matter of carpet and dust, I'm your man. No, you sit right here. Do what your Elohim has commanded you to do. Go ahead.
Because, you don't even think about it. So all you do is carpets and dust. So what happens when something tramples on your job?
Right.
How are you going to deal with it?
Exactly. What you going to do when somebody's standing in the way of the carpet that you trying to clean? Do you even know what powers you have to deal in the word when somebody's stepping on your job? And what if they have doing their job and it causes you not to be able to do yours? Go ahead.
I speak to your shame. Is it so that there's not a wise man among you? No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren. But brother goes to law with brother, and that before the unbeliever.
Right. We'll go before heathens before we go and talk to our own brothers and sisters. That's why half the time you don't even know what's going on with people. Folk can have all kind of issues. They ain't gonna tell their brothers and sisters. They'll go deal with some heathen. Go ahead.
Now therefore there is utterly a fault among you, because you go to law one with another. Why do you not rather take wrong?
No, we're not gonna do that now. Now see, now you on some higher level type stuff right now. We ain't taking no wrong. Go ahead.
Why do you not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? No, you do wrong and defraud, and that's your brethren.
Right. But you know what's amazing? We will not take wrong when it comes down to dealing with anything in this word. But you know, we have some really unrighteous 9-to-5 respectfulness. That we can be some of the nicest people, even with our deepest of enemies, during 9 to 5, because we getting a check. Then people can say something to us. We won't roll our eyes. We won't stump our feet. We won't twist the neck. We won't do all that. We won't suck the tick.
Whatever.
We won't do none of that because there's a check involved. At 5:15, one of our brothers or sisters say something to us, and we just as nasty as we can possibly be. Now, what the hell happened from 9 to 5? That 9 to 5 respectfulness. Mr. Bob Dabalina can come and tell us any damn thing. Talk to us nasty.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bob.
Your brother try to speak to you. We act like we ain't seen him. Well, you went all out the way for Mr. Bob Dabalina. But that was from 9 to 5, though. See, Israel is totally different from 6 to 8. So when somebody coming, you need to ask them, are you 9 to 5 or 6 to 8? Go ahead, bro.
That was it, bro.
That was it right there. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10, and let's read verses 34 through 42.
Verse 34. Think not that I'm come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Right. Now this Yahshua talking. But you have some that will try to have so much peace in their house that they step on the law of Yahweh our Elohim to do it. And if that's how you getting peace, I guarantee you it ain't gonna last. I can guarantee you it ain't gonna last. Go ahead.
For I'm come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
And are we prepared for that? See, we have that on several levels. You have that on the level when you talk about dealing with Israel as a family on a whole. Then you have that when we get ready to go home. There's people that have to war constantly because one half of the house is in the word and the other half of the house is not. And they in a warring status all the time. Then you have others that both of them supposed to be in the word. But they ain't gonna war in the word because everybody just gonna keep agreeing with wrong stuff. And you have to learn how to war. Everybody don't know how to war. See, a man wars with brute strength. Man get out there and he fight. And it's totally different. When you watch the Animal Channel, you watch the lion 5 miles out, you can hear. Oh, he wants you to know he coming. Oh, he wants you to hear him 5 miles out. Let me tell you something about that lioness. See, when you warring with a woman, she done made 9 moves of war. You ain't even figured out you in war yet. The lioness is down in the grass. It might take her 1 hour to do this. Shh. That was it. She been sitting there an hour, and all she did was, shh. That's it. Her way of war, she didn't have brute strength. So she fights in stealth. She fighting and you ain't know she fighting. By the time you see the lioness, you are now dead. When you see her, is when she goes, done deal. You are now lunch. You hear 2 things When you hear her come up out the grass, the other thing you hear is yourself going, ah! Two totally different war tactics. Do you even understand when you are at war? Or did you look at the lioness laying in the grass and thought that she was just sleeping? You ain't paying attention to each time. It looked like she keep getting closer. But was she over there by that tree last time? I could have sworn she was by that tree the last time I looked over there. Right. Next time you look, she has your leg in her mouth. Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 37. He that loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me.
Anything you put over Yahweh and Yahshua is going to cause you a problem. See, those who are leaders, Yahweh makes sure they make these decisions before they even get to sit in the seat. I can pinpoint each one of these things that done happened in my life. Didn't understand it while it was happening. Go ahead.
And he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
Uh-huh.
And he that takes not his burdens and follows after me is not worthy of me. He that finds his life shall lose it.
He that seeks to keep what he has by stepping on Yahweh's word, he gonna lose every bit of it. And he who openly gives up what he has for Yahweh, gonna not only get that, but he gonna get something added on top of that. Go ahead, bro.
And he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. He that receives you receives me, and he that receives me receives him that sent me. He that receive a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward.
We can't receive nobody but Yahweh. We want Yahweh to part the heavens. We want to see the clouds roll back like a scroll. We want to see the moon turn blood red. We want to see the sun turn black as a sackcloth to hair. And we want to see a hand come out of the sky and tell us,
That way.
read, bro.
And he that receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward.
He shall in no wise lose his reward, because as it is written, as they have done unto you, they have also done unto me. Let's go to Genesis chapter 22. See, Yahweh not going to ask his servants to do something that he's not going to do. But those decisions have to be made up front. See, Yahweh is a covenant Elohim. So you're going to tell him what you're going to do. And if you ain't going to say nothing, it's because you ain't going to do nothing. Genesis 22, and let's read verses 1 through 18.
And it came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now your son, your only son Esau, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell you of.
Now, here it is, Yahweh talk to you, and this is what he say. Look, don't talk to me no more. I hear it. I felt wonderful that you were talking to me. And then you're going to tell me to sacrifice my only son. Now, understand now, he got another boy. But Yahweh letting him know who his boy. This is the boy of the promise. This is the promise that I gave you. So then he gives him a promise and then tells him to sacrifice the promise. Now, some of us are so in love with the gift that we step on the face of the gift giver. We forgot how we got it. So now it overruns all our decision-making process. Now we thinking about that thing instead of where we got that thing from. Go ahead.
And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him.
He got up early in the morning. He was told this thing, and he went to moving. Don't think his heart ain't heavy. Go ahead.
And Esau his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went on to the place of which Elohim had told him. Then on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off.
Third day. He's got all of this. He got this time of all these things going on in his head that Yahweh has told him to go and do. He does not necessarily understand how he's going to be delivered from this, but he believes Yahweh. Go ahead.
And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide you here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you.
We will come again to you. Now, he done been told to go and sacrifice the boy. He said, look, I believe Yahweh. Yahweh said he was going to do this, this, and this with the boy. That's what he told me. Now he telling me to sacrifice the boy. I don't know how, but I'm telling you, me and the boy coming back. Now, I don't know how we coming back. I can't answer that. But I know we coming back. Go ahead.
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Esau his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Esau spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which Elohim had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Esau his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son.
Do you understand all of the things that's going forth right now? He's doing all the things that Yahweh has commanded him to do, but his heart is heavy while he's doing it. But when you have those that can't deal with any kind of counsel, especially if they don't understand the counsel, if the counsel is above their head, they ain't listening, they ain't doing. Ain't nobody understand what's going to happen here. He don't understand what's going to happen. But over everything, he believes Yahweh. Go ahead.
You know, even in this situation, some of the best laid plans you got to keep to yourself.
You got it.
Because had he told Esau, boy, he'd have been chasing him.
You better believe it. You better believe it. He knew to keep that. Yahweh will provide. Here's the thing. He really don't know how Yahweh going to deal with that. But he has sense enough to know not to tell him that he was the offering. See, that goes that rare sense. See, we would have went home and uttered all our mind. We would have never got Esau out the house. You know why? Because dumb Jake would have went home and told the wife. Yeah, Yahweh told me to go sacrifice the boy.
Oh, no, hell you ain't. You out your mind. Run, baby, run.
We would have never be like, hold on, Yahweh, I gotta find him first. Hold on. Okay, I told the mama, and the mama bought him one of those fast asses. They took off. You know what I'm saying? Right. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything unto him. For now I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
Now I know you have been tested, tried, and proven. Now, he's doing this beforehand. Understand, he's not in this great situation. Yahweh is doing this in the beginning. See, that's the one thing, see, and if people come up and see Abraham later, they don't understand the test that he's gone through. They don't understand how he paid his dues. Sometimes you're looking at somebody in the seat, you don't know what all they done been through to get in that seat. Go ahead.
And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns.
His belief has secured him. He said, Elohim shall provide him a lamb. There you go. There you go right there. Go ahead.
And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Yahweh Yireh, as it is said to this day, In the mount of Yahweh it shall be seen. And the angel of Yahweh called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, says Yahweh, or because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your only son.
Right. You have not, you have to first of all understand what he offered up and what was given unto him. And even this name of the place, you know, they done slid they Jehovah in here. When we read this word, it says that they had not known him by his name Yahweh. They knew him by El and El Shaddai. So that would have been either El Yahweh. That would not have been Yahweh Yahweh at that point, because he didn't know Yahweh's name. Go ahead.
That in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And they said, and your seed, pardon me, shall possess the gate of his enemies.
No, listen to the blessing and take it in respect to the offering. The offering was him to offer up his seed. The blessing is all the blessing is now going to the seed that he asked him to offer up. So you consider some of the things that people have gone through to get in this word. They have had to forsake houses, wife, or husband. That is the very thing that they're going to get their blessing in when it comes down to it. But Jake that won't do nothing, Jake ain't going to get nothing. Go ahead.
And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice.
Because you have obeyed my voice. So the sacrifice of his seed has now put the blessing all throughout his seed. Yahweh is poetic in how he deals with things. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 9. See, we're not just going to walk in and get his land just because we know a few scriptures. And you can study all night. If we're not going to work on the heart, it ain't going to do us a bit of good. That study is study but in vain. Ezekiel chapter 9.
He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And, behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lies toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with white linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar.
Oh, that Israel would be able to see the angel with the destroying weapon in his hand. If we did, we sure would act a whole hell of a lot better. We sure would be a whole hell of a lot more respectful to one another. Because you realize that angel that bears that sword, he does not bear that sword in vain. When we see that policeman and we see his gun, we know he don't have that gun in vain. He got that gun for a reason. Go ahead.
And the glory of the El of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was. So the threshold of the house, to the threshold of the house, and he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Right. Do they even care about what is done? Go ahead.
And to the others he said in mine hearing, go you after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have you pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark.
Do we have the wherewithal to do that? See, coming out of Egypt, the children of Israel had to go and deal with our own people when they got ready to make those images. Israel had to go kill Israel. See, we got it in our mind that we just going to go and fight the other nations. Now, I don't think we understand what's happening here. Yahweh gave us a paradise. What they offered us on Sunday morning is all you got to do is die and you go back to paradise. Well, Yahweh says, no, I gave you a paradise. I ain't giving you another one. You're going to have to clean the one that I gave you. and I'm going to show you how to clean it. Go ahead.
And began at my sanctuary.
Begin at my sanctuary. So the righteous judgment starts at his sanctuary. That's where righteousness begins. That's where righteous judgment begins, and it flows down. If you step over righteous judgment at the sanctuary, it don't go no further. Go ahead.
Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them,
Who get it first?
the ancient men.
Right, the ones who's supposed to know better. Start with the ancients. All the ones who claim that they got this power, that power, they sitting in the place of authority, kill them first. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go you forth. And they went forth, and slew in the city. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face, and cried, and said, Ah, Adonai, will you destroy all the residue of Israel in your pouring out of your fury upon Jerusalem? Then said he unto me, the lawlessness of the house of Israel and Yehudah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say, Yahweh has forsaken the earth, and Yahweh sees not.
Right. Yahweh sees not. We've been able to do this, and nothing has happened to us right away. So he cannot be even paying attention. Go ahead.
And as for me also, mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head.
Right. The same thing that Yahweh said. When it comes time to bring forth those in a situation of righteous judgment, you shall not pity him. You shall not conceal him. You shall not hide him. You shall not consent unto him. But you shall deal with this because your salvation depends on it. Go ahead.
And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as you have commanded me.
Right. And that's the thing that we have to get through our heads, that the angel is not going to receive a failing report. He is going to say, I have done as you have commanded me. Now, if that means he got to kill off 10,000 people to get to the place where he's supposed to be, then that's what he's going to do. But he is not going to go back to Yahweh with a failed report. That's something that we need to understand. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. See, this is why Yahweh said, behold, I have sent an angel to lead you into the way. Don't you provoke him. He will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. But because all we see is us, we don't see that we're stepping on holy things. Hebrews chapter 10, and let's start that at verse 19.
Having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the holiest by the blood of Yahshua, by a new and living way, which he has consecrated for us, through the veil, that is to say, his flesh, and having an high priest over the house of Elohim.
Right, and having a high priest over the house of Elohim. Our high priest is a Judite, not a Levite. Yahweh was mixing the priests with the kings so he can make a earthly representation ruler like Melchizedek. King and priest. Go ahead.
Let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water.
Can we be sprinkled from the evil conscience? Will we allow that to happen? It says be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Do we operate the same way we did when we first got here? Then we're not allowing the spirit to renew us. Go ahead.
Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is.
Right, and it is amazing how easily we will forsake the assembling of ourselves together. It's all fun and game when it works to our profit. When you're doing something for somebody else, for their own profit, oh, we'll show up. When it's to glorify Yahweh or we got to do some work, we come around when we want to. Go ahead.
But exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fire indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moshe's law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses.
He died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. And people say, yeah, that was that old stuff. Read.
Of how much sorer punishment.
How much worse punishment? Go ahead.
Shall he be thought worthy who has trodden underfoot the Son of Elohim and has counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing, and has done despite unto the Spirit of grace.
Right. He's saying, how much worse punishment? You thought Moshe's punishment was severe. How much sorer punishment you think you're going to have after getting baptized in the name of Yahshua, sharing in the blood of his covenant, and then you did the opposite of the direction of the Spirit of grace? You thought Moshe's punishment was harsh. Where do you see Yahshua's? Go ahead.
For we know him that has said, vengeance belongs unto me. I'll recompense, says the Adonai. And again, the Adonai shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living El. But call to remembrance the former days, in which, after you were illuminated, you endured a great fight of afflictions, partly whilst you were made a gazing stock both by reproaches and afflictions, and partly whilst you became companions of them that were so used.
Right. But some can walk in the word as long as there's not any affliction. But it says, there are some that receive the word and with joy, they go on until they are either corrected or go through something, and now by and by they are offended. Go ahead.
For you had compassion of me in my bonds, and took joyfully the spoiling of your goods, knowing in yourselves that you have in heaven a better and an enduring substance. Cast not away therefore your confidence, which has great recompense of reward. For you have need of patience, that after you have done the will of Elohim, you might receive the promise.
You have need of patience. We do something on Monday and wonder why the fruit of it ain't growing by Wednesday night. Go ahead.
For yet a little while, and he that shall come will come, and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. But we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul.
We are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. See, it's that old man that tells us how to deal with certain things, and then we end up listening to the old man instead of walking in the spirit of a renewed mind. This word tells us, agree with your adversary quickly while you're on the way, before you get to court. That means there has to be a humbling part. But when that has been offered to us over and over again and we decline, then it's time to go to court. And they said when you go to court, you're gonna pay every dime that is being uttered. But you have an opportunity to avoid court. Let's go to Romans chapter 7. And understand, these people got all of the things that they have set up. They got it out of our law. That is the poetic justice of Yahweh. That he calls these people to get their twisted version of law out of our law, and he's still punishing us with his word that we refuse to do. Romans chapter 7, let's start at verse 1.
Know you not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law has dominion over a man as long as he lives. For the woman which has an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he lives. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband.
Right. And when you have that law of the husband, it says what? A husband has the right to disannul a vow that his wife makes on the day that he hears it. Well, you have situations where there's situations that take place. The husband has a window of opportunity to get in and take care of that situation. When he doesn't, he has allowed the weight of those things to fall on his wife because he didn't take care of that business when he heard of it. See, there's certain things that we so ready to dismiss that when it's brought to us, we turn around and walk away. And we missed our opportunity to bring forth righteousness in the house. So when it show back up again, Yahweh is looking at the head of that house. Hey, you had an opportunity. Why you ain't deal with this? Now you're the reason that weight is sitting there. Because you had an opportunity to take care of that on the day you heard it. Go ahead.
So then if, while her husband lives, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Wherefore, my brethren, you also are become dead to the law by the body of Yahshua, that you should be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto Elohim. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sins, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit, and not in the oldness of the letter.
Renewed in the spirit of our mind. Are we able to be renewed in the spirit of our mind? If we are able to do that, that means we're going to take counsel and direction. And if you will not hearken unto the judge, or if you will not hearken unto the priest, if you will not be corrected, you're just wasting your time. You might as well go party with the adversary of the devil. You're losing premium party time. Go ahead.
What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Elohim forbid. No, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, you shall not covet. But sin, taken occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscences. For without the law, sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once. But when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment, which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. For sin taken occasion by the commandment deceived me, and by it slew me. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. Was then that which is good made death unto me? Elohim forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin.
Now we're talking about one of the greatest apostles. We're talking about the responsibility or the whole having of the New Testament is based on Saul's travels and works and all of these things. And then we have this situation where he's openly dealing with himself. And then you find other individuals that they will never acknowledge anything that they've ever done wrong. They will never come to the table on anything. Man, before I started doing sermons, I was writing songs dealing with the things that I have done. I was writing songs dealing with the issues that I encountered in my house. It is amazing that some of the greats can lay it all on the line in the things that they have dealt with. Then you have those that ain't never did nothing wrong. They ain't never slipped. They ain't never failed. They ain't never done hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. No. Right. Read, bro.
For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that do I.
Uh-huh.
If then I do that which I would not, I consent unto the law that it is good.
I consented because I did it. Go ahead.
Now then it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwells in me.
Uh-huh.
For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwells no good thing.
I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good thing. So when the flesh starts directing you, do you have enough spirit to fight it? There's not one of us that the flesh don't get to talking. Something happened and automatically the flesh start telling you, defend yourself. Defend yourself. How you gonna say that about you? Never mind, it's true. Defend yourself. Do you put the flesh back in that baby seat in the back? Look, you get back in this baby seat. You don't get out of here. You do not get to drive my car. You in here, but you don't get to drive. The spirit has to lead. There's no choice but to deal with the flesh. We wrapped in flesh. It cannot get to drive the vehicle. Go ahead.
For to will is present with me.
For to will is present with me. Go ahead.
But how to perform that which is good, I find not.
Uh-huh. I know what I should do. I know I should deal with this better. But the flesh is telling me to deal with it like this. But I read in the word where it says something. And see, what we do when we get in a situation, instead of going and researching that situation, we want to deal with everything but. Go ahead.
For the good that I would, I do not. But the evil which I would not, that I do.
Uh-huh.
Now if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwells in me.
Uh-huh.
I find then a law, that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of Elohim after the inward man.
I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of Elohim after the inward man. So I'm going to find me a law to start dealing with me in the things that I'm doing. Not acting like I don't hear nothing, acting like I don't see nothing, acting like I don't know nothing. That way I have an issue, that's where I'm going. Go ahead.
But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members.
Right. Here is the flesh and the spirit warring with one another. See? You got one that is the brute force of a man, and another with the cunning craftiness of the lioness. Which one gonna win? Both of them inside you. Go ahead.
O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank Elohim through Yahshua the Messiah, our Adonai. So then with the mind I myself serve the law of Elohim, but with the flesh the law of sin.
All right, let's hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Psalms chapter 55.
You know, that's a war that we will fight every day till the day we die.
You got it. When the war is over, your life is over. Well, something had to change. Either that or you just got a new body.
New body, please.
You know?
Psalms chapter 55 and verse 1. Give ear to my prayer, O Elohim, and hide not yourself from my supplication. Attend unto me and hear me. I mourn in my complaint and make a noise. Because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked, for they cast lawlessness upon me, and in wrath they hate me.
And in wrath, they hate me. That's one thing that anybody in charge of anything of substance is going to have to deal with. Those that have a problem with Yahweh's word, they're going to have a problem with you. As it is written, I've been made to bear the reproach of those that hate you. Go ahead.
My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror has overwhelmed me. And I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Lo, then would I wander far off and remain in the wilderness. I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Adonai, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go about it upon the walls thereof. Mischief also and sorrow are in the midst of it. Wickedness is in the midst thereof. Deceit and guile depart not from her streets. For it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me that did it, that did magnify himself against me. Then would I have hid myself from him. But it was you, a man, mine equal, my guide, and mine acquaintance, We took sweet counsel together and walked unto the house of Elohim in company. Let death seize upon them, and let them go down quick into hell. For wickedness is in their dwellings, and among them. As for me, I will call upon Elohim, and Yahweh shall save me. Evening and morning, and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice.
Right. So you take a problem, situation, and circumstances to make you pray like that. Go ahead.
He has delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many with me. Elohim shall hear and afflict them, even he that abides of old. Because they have no changes, therefore they fear not Elohim.
They have no changes. They don't fear Elohim. They're going to do what they want to do. You can talk. You can do whatever. They're going to keep going about things the way they want to do them. They have absolutely no fear of Elohim. And he has not shown them his power, so they have no reason to fear him. By the time they see his power, it's going to be like seeing that lioness. By the time they see it, it's going to be too late. Go ahead.
He has put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant.
He has broken his covenant by coming at another who was at peace with him. What makes us do that? What makes us come at such as be at peace with us? Do we imagine that in our heart because of some other things? Go ahead, bro.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Cast your burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain you. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved.
He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. The wicked flee when no man pursueth. The righteous are as bold as a lion. Go ahead.
But you, O Elohim, shall bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in you.
I will trust in you. Dawid went through many of war campaigns, many of altercations. So the more situations he encountered, the more he had to trust in his Elohim. When you ain't been through nothing, you don't have to put it all on the line like that. You don't have to be in a situation where you put all your trust in Yahweh, your Elohim. But when you are constantly being presented with some things, your trust in Yahweh has no choice but to grow. Because you keep being presented with these situations. You're talking about somebody in Dawid that warred so much, Yahweh couldn't even let him build a house because he had shed too much blood. But Yahweh had picked him for that job. You are the man that will unite my kingdom. But to do that, you have to shed a lot of blood. There's a lot of things that's been done wrong in this land. So blood has to be shed to make atonement for that sin. And these are the people who did it. So these are the people whose blood's got to be shed in this land. See, Yahweh has purposes that he don't just tell us of right away. He said, no, them people got to die. Yeah, these are the people in the land. Right. These are also the people that defile the land. We read in his law, what does it say? The land shall not be cleansed except by the blood of him that defiled it. Here it is. That's what we were doing, and we didn't understand all that. All we understand is we about to get a land. But we had to execute righteous judgment before we got it. Yahweh does the same thing over and over and over again. Before we get his land again, we're also going to have to execute righteous judgment. And those that are not set out for the job of righteous judgment, go ahead and stop now because you're wasting your time. Yahweh has servants. Servants do things that he wants to be done. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.